Friends, this is me Harsavi Handal here. Today I'll be talking about brachial plexus and giving you a few tricks to remember it. Coming to the mnemonic, mnemonic for the brachial plexus is radio, the doctor's school branch. There is no promotion for any branch. This is just a mnemonic. Radio, the doctor's school branch. Now let's expand each one of them. From R it is roots, and T it is trunks. D is division. C is cord and B is branches. Brachial plexus root starts from C5, C6, C7, C8 and T1. The C5 and C6 roots join to form upper trunk. C7 continues as middle trunk. C8 and T1 join to form lower trunk. Now each of the trunks divide into divisions, that is anterior and posterior divisions. Now the posterior divisions of all the trunks join to form what is known as posterior cord, and the anterior divisions of the upper and the middle anterior division join to form lateral cord, and the anterior division of the lower trunk continues as medial cord. Now we should remember the branches of each of the cords. Coming to lateral cord, the branches are L, M and L, that is lateral pectoral nerve, and M is musculocutaneous nerve. And musculocutaneous has both muscle and cutaneous part, that is muscle which musculocutaneous supplies are biceps brachii, brachialis and coracobrachialis, all BB. Remember, biceps brachii, brachialis, coracobrachialis, and the cutaneous part is lateral cutaneous nerve of forearm, and the L is for lateral root of median nerve. And coming to posterior cord, the mnemonic is lunar. Lunar stands for L is lower subscapularis, U is upper subscapularis, N is nerve to latissimus dorsi, A is axillary nerve, R is radial nerve. Coming to medial cord, the mnemonic is M for U. M should be written 4 times and U is U, ulnar nerve. Here we have lateral pectoral nerve, so here we have medial pectoral nerve. Here we have lateral root of median nerve, so here we have median root of median nerve. And here we have lateral cutaneous nerve of forearm, so here we have medial cutaneous nerve of forearm. And we have medial cutaneous nerve of arm also. So here we have learnt the various branches of brachial plexus. So the first mnemonic was radio, the doctor school branch, that is roots, trunk, divisions, cord and branches. And we know C5 and C6 forms upper trunk, C7 continues as middle trunk, C8 and T1 continues as lower trunk, and the posterior divisions of all the trunks join to form posterior cord. The anterior divisions of the upper and the middle trunk join to form lateral cord, and the anterior division of the lower trunk forms the medial cord. And we learned the branches of lateral cord are L, M and L, and posterior cord is lunar, and the medial cord is M for U. So there are few more terms which you should learn, that is the branches from the roots. Remember the mnemonic: deep, the roots grow deep into the soil. And the roots which grow deep into the soil are long, right? So remember, long roots grow deep into the soil. So you will get the branches as long thoracic nerve. D is dorsal scapula nerve. L say long thoracic nerve. D say dorsal scapula nerve. Long thoracic nerve supplies serratus anterior, whereas dorsal scapular supplies see if this is the scapula. Just imagine this is the scapula. Here we have levator scapulae, and we have rhomboids minor and rhomboids major. All are supplied by dorsal scapula nerve only. That is levator scapulae, rhomboids minor and rhomboids major. And you should also remember the branches from trunk. That is one sub branch and one supra branch. That is subclavius and suprascapular. The suprascapular is the one which supplies supraspinatus and infraspinatus. This is all about the brachial plexus. And now we'll learn the lesions associated with brachial plexus are Erb's paralysis or Erb's palsy and Klumpke's paralysis. Erb's paralysis, you should remember which is the point which when affected results in Erb's paralysis. That is, you know the C5 and C6 join to form the upper trunk and it is divided into anterior and posterior division. This is the junction of the nerves, and the upper trunk also gives two branches, that is one supra branch and one sub branch, which I told you. That is suprascapular and subclavius. So the junction of all the six nerve is the point where if any lesions occur, it results in Erb's paralysis. In Erb's paralysis, you should remember there are the two nerves which are affected the most. That is axillary nerve and musculocutaneous nerve. Axillary nerve supplies deltoid and teres minor. Whereas musculocutaneous nerve, we have learned it supplies B, that is biceps brachii, brachialis and coracobrachialis. Deltoid main function is abduction at shoulder joint. Lesions of the axillary nerve result in deltoid weakness. So the arm will be in adduction position. Adduction at shoulder joint. Whereas biceps brachii function is flexion at the elbow. Lesion of the biceps brachii nerve, that is lesion of the musculocutaneous nerve, results in biceps brachii weakness. So the arm will be now in extended position and pronated form. Therefore, in Erb's paralysis, we have an policeman or Vatus tip receiving position. That is, there will be adduction at the shoulder joint, extension position at the elbow joint, and the arm will be in pronated form. This is known as pollice or Vatus tip receiving position. Okay, and coming to Klumpke's palsy, The roots which are affected are C8 and T1. And you should know that T1 supplies or it carries sympathetic fibers, that is preganglionic fibers to superior cervical ganglion. Lesion of the C8 and T1 results in weakness of the intrinsic muscles of the hand. Weakness of results in weakness of intrinsic muscle of hand and flexors of fingers and wrist. Therefore, lesion results in claw hand. Now, and also the patient will not be able to flex the fingers or wrist. So the resulting deformity is claw hand and supination. This is a pronated arm, this is a supinated arm. Here it is policeman waiter's tip receiving position, here it is claw hand. And Horner's syndrome is associated with Klumpke's palsy, that is ptosis, enophthalmos, meiosis, anhidrosis, loss of clinospinal reflex. Remember the enophthalmos here it is apparent only because it is not a true enophthalmos which occurs. Due to the ptosis and the meiosis, the patient appears to have enophthalmos but in fact he doesn't have. Thank you. Hope this video helps you. Keep learning.